Morning class. So now after evaluating the impact of leverage on the earning per share, we move to a even more crucial decision for the firm, that is the composition of the capital structure. Now capital structure is all about long term funding in the firm. So here, what we are talking about is long term equity. Equity is always long term and long term debt. So, the proportion between the long term sources of finance vis a vis equity and debt is known as the capital structure of the firm. Now, the financial managers are always working, as you already know, with the objective of maximizing the wealth of the shareholders. With this, due regards is given to the level of risk that the firm can take. And risk arises because of usage of debt, because debt is a fixed liability. Interest payment on debt and principal repayment is a fixed liability for the firm irrespective of the level of earnings. So whenever the firm has to take the decision about how much debt should be taken, and is it comfortable for the firm, keeping in mind the expected earnings, that the repayment of the liabilities from obligation from the debt, is it feasible for the firm? For that, the firm should keep a check on the return on investment. So the rate of return which the firm is earning, that is very important. I have repeated this multiple times, that the return on investment, the expected rate of return, should be compared with the cost of debt. Only when the return on investment is greater than the cost of debt should the firm add debt in the capital structure, because such a decision will lead to an increase in the earnings per share. Debt serves the biggest advantage in form of tax deductibility of the interest payments. So after tax cost of debt, if it is lower than the return which the firm is earning, then the firm can enhance the earnings of the equity shareholders. Such a scenario will lead to an increase in EPS. On the other hand, when you have a case which is vice versa, return on investment is lower than the cost of debt, then such a scenario will lead to a fall in the EPS. So let's take a simple example. Let's analyze this relationship. So let's take up two scenarios. Say now the firm in the capital structure has equity share. Please tell me. Okay, so let's take a very simple hypothetical example where the firm is having two sources of finance in the capital structure. One is equity, one is debt, and it has 35,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each and 6% debt of rupees 50,000. So which means 1 lakh is the total amount in the capital structure. Now let's take two scenarios. One where the return on investment, and let's take the tax rate as 50%. So let's take the case where return on investment is 10%, and let's take a case here where the return on investment is 2%. So when you derive the EPS under both these scenarios, you can see that the only difference that is there is the return on investment. So we will calculate the EPS through the income statement. So divided, this is coming to 0.70 per share, 3,500 divided by 500, sorry, 5,000. This comes to 0.70 per share. On the other hand, when the EBIT is 2,000, you can see straight away you are starting with, okay, let's take 4%. Let's not start with a negative value. Let's start with 4%. So 4,000. So you can see that in this case, the earning per share is only 0.10 per share. And if I had taken a 2% return on investment here, then the scenario would have been that there wouldn't be any earning per share. You would have a negative income for the firm. So seeing these two situations, what we conclude is that the debt for the firm serves well as long as the return on investment is greater than the cost of debt. When the situation reverses and you have the cost of debt higher than the return on investment, then this would lead to a, and this would not be beneficial for the equity shareholders of the firm. So when
Ma'am,
we are
here interest cost
talking,
3,000.
yeah, interest cost is 3,000, 6% of 50,000.
Okay.
So whenever the decision of how much debt and at what rate is to be taken, and these expectations are analyzed in this slide, that is what is the expected return for the firm. Now also addition of more and more debt will increase the risk to the equity shareholders also. So this thing should also be kept in mind, because in the further topics we'll see that with increase in debt, equity shareholders also expect a higher return on equity. So these factors need to be discounted. Only then is the decision of debt taken. So capital structure decisions are taken with the objective of maximizing the market value of the share and minimizing the cost of capital. तो जो ओवरऑल कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल हमने करी थी, वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल करी थी, बेसिक एम क्या है? टू मिनिमाइज द overall cost of capital. Okay, so a firm has multiple options before it. It can go for all equity, 100% equity, equity and preference, equity and debt, and equity, preference, and debt combined in the capital structure. So, through the EBIT, EPS analysis, we evaluate the possible capital structures at different levels of EBIT or at the constant level of EBIT. We analyze various alternatives and see which alternative is giving us the maximum earning per share. So we aim to design a capital structure in such a manner that at a given level of EBIT, we are able to maximize the earnings per share. So this is in short the study of leverage under alternative methods of financing. So you are studying financial leverage under alternative methods of financing for a given or varying level of EBIT. So for this, we prepare the income statement, and through that we analyze the possible capital structure alternatives that we have before us. So by this time, I hope all of you are comfortable with capital structure and income statement. So let's start straight away with the first question. X Limited is expecting EBIT of 2 lakh on investment of 6 lakh. The company can raise the amount through equity, preference, and debentures. Now, the company is analyzing the following options to raise the funds of 6 lakh. So, there are four options before the firm. The firm can either go for 100% equity, is option 1, 100% equity. Option 2 is equity plus preference, so 50% equity, 3 lakh rupees in form of equity and 3 lakh in form of preference. Third is 50% equity and then 1,50,000 in form of preference and 1,50,000 in form of debt. And fourth is 25% of equity, 25% preference shares, and 50% debt. So you have four possible scenarios, and you need to conclude for the firm which is the best alternative. The best alternative will be the one which is maximizing the EPS under the given circumstances. So let's start. I'll solve the first part for you. By this time, most of you are comfortable solving this on your own, but I'll solve the first part and then you can start with the second part, or even better, I'll solve the third part for you because there you have all the sources of finance. So we start with EBIT of 2 lakh rupees. I'm just writing, the space is limited, you can accordingly work. Okay. So first thing that we deduct from EBIT is interest. So 10% is the rate of interest, and here we'll be taking a loan of 1,50,000. So 15,000 would be the interest, profit before tax. Sorry, I have written this incorrectly. 1,85,000. I'm using this space here. Okay, I am solving this for the third option here. So tax rate is 50%. Now, next thing we need to reduce here is the preference dividend. So you have 14% preference shares. So 14% preference shares again will be at an amount of 1,50,000 is the amount which you are raising through preference shares. So there again 14% of 1,50,000 we will be taking. So that comes to 21,000. So now this will be your earnings available to equity shareholders, and this comes to 71,500. Now you calculate the EPS. See what is this amount coming to. 71,500 divided by 3,000 plus 3 lakh is the equity share capital, 100 rupees each. Not having a calculator before me, just tell me what is the EPS coming to.
Ma'am, 23.83.
23.8.
3.
Okay. So similarly, calculate the, thank you, Dipti. Please calculate the EPS for the other three parts and let's then conclude the answer. Please start solving. This is a case of constant EBIT with four alternatives. Calculate and let's discuss the answer then.
Ma'am, could you please rotate the screen? It's like a vertical thing.
down.
So take 2 minutes more, and the answers have been shared by Pranath. All of you can cross check your answers. Take 2 minutes more, and then we'll conclude the solution. Okay, so I hope all of you have solved. We can now conclude the answer. Now, what we see is that the EBIT of 2 lakh on an investment of 6 lakh roughly comes to a return on investment of 16.67%. 2 lakh on 6 lakh is roughly 16.67%. And when you start evaluating the EPS under the four alternatives, the first alternative where you have all equity, the EPS is also coming out to be 16.67 rupees per share. So what do we conclude here? We conclude that in case there is no financial leverage, the equity shareholder is roughly earning the same amount as the return on investment. So no benefit of leverage as this is a 100% equity firm. The benefit of leverage arises in the second, third, and fourth part of your answer with employment of debt and preference dividend. So you are using basically from third part onwards, you are using two sources of fixed cost funds. So two fixed cost funds you are using debt and preference capital, and you are able to magnify the earnings of the equity shareholders, because under the second part with only debt, the EPS is 19.33, but with the employment of preference dividend, even higher financial leverage, this increases to 23.83. And in the last part with 50% debt, this is the highest at 42.67. But then again, to be on the safe side, this works well only as long as the return on investment is greater than the cost of debt. If the return on investment falls, then this will lead to a massive decline in the EPS of the equity shareholders. So, as per the information given in this question, option 4 is the best for the firm. Okay, let's move to another question where instead of fixed EBIT, you are now given varying EBIT. So in this question, again, you have three options for raising the amount required for capital structure. So three financing alternatives, 100% equity, wait, okay. Then preference and 100% debt. So you have three alternatives where one you can go for all equity, second all preference, and third is all debt. And the current EBIT of the firm is 80,000 per annum. The company is in the tax bracket of 50%. You need to calculate the EPS under all the three alternatives with first the EBIT being constant even after expansion. So basically the firm is raising funds of 1 lakh rupees for expansion, and in the first part of the question it is assumed that EBIT will remain same, that is at 80,000 per annum. Under the three alternatives, so the firm already has a share capital of, just a second, of 2 lakh. So this needs to be considered when we are calculating the EPS under the three alternatives, that existing number of shares already is 20,000. Okay. Now First scenario will be 80,000 as EBIT and three options there. Then increases by 20,000. Second case होगा जब EBIT 1 lakh है और third case होगा when the EBIT is 55,000. So three parts under each of the options. So you can first solve for the second and third part. I would like you people to start with the second part, that is with 1 lakh as EBIT and the three alternatives available. How much is the EPS coming to? So this is 100% equity. Start solving. And share the answers for the second part under the three alternatives. So just remember, under the first option, the number of equity shares will become 30,000, while second and third option, preference dividend and debt, number of equity shares remain at 20,000. Now check for the first case 100% equity. You need to divide by 30,000.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Yes, please correct that and give the correct answer there. So it is coming to 1.66, 1.67 per share. Okay, so what would be better is that you people complete the remaining six parts as homework and then we give an appropriate conclusion to the solution. So tomorrow